All right, folks, we're ready to get started. We're on air. This is the meeting of the Third Mutual Board, specifically to select a candidate to represent us on the VMS board. There was one opening. We have two candidates. The procedure that we are going to use today is we are going to allow each of the two candidates 3 minutes to do an opening statement. I will then, after the opening statements are completed, I will then recognize various board members who may want to ask questions of one or both of the candidates. And after the questions have all been asked and answered, we will then allow each candidate a maximum of 2 minutes for a closing statement. And after that, we will have Catherine Laster, who is the Inspector of Elections for today, pass out ballots and tabulate the ballots for the selection of the representative to VMS for third board. Okay, everybody all right with that as a procedure? All righty, then I will ask Wei Ming. We have two candidates. We have Wei Ming Tao and we have Hal Horn, both candidates for the position. They have submitted the appropriate application as well as supporting documentation that all the board members have received and had an opportunity to review. So I will ask Wei Ming to go first as with her opening statement. If you would, please. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning. My husband and I have lived in Third Mutual for 14 years, and we love it. I have an extensive business career in financial management with strength in strategic planning. I have an MBA degree and was a CPA. As a former CFO and division controller, I was in charge of 9 plants in 7 countries and general manager of planning and process for Fortune 500 companies. I managed all financial planning objectives for over $500 million in operations and also served on numerous boards. I was Third Mutual Board treasurer and financial advisor for 5 years and was involved with the initial structure of VMS. I am familiar with how Laguna Woods Village functions and understand we must continue to strive for improvements that meet and exceed the needs of our members. In the 3 years of my tenure on VMS, the board has been successfully redefined. We work diligently to improve our working relationships with all the boards and operational excellence with our new customer service bi-monthly meetings. We are involved with boards and staff operational meetings and a higher level of training for boards and staff members. Our focus on KPIs and the necessary improvements that resulted from our studies and reviews have achieved in better management controls and started a continuous improvement culture. A refocus on leadership, competency, and performance criteria has been added to our current agenda. We need to continually update our goals and direction to make sure we eliminate waste while delivering better maintenance and service. It is also important for us to continue to uncover new opportunities to streamline our activities and improve our operational processes. VMS is a relatively new enterprise, and we are still in our developmental stages. I have the ability, energy, and dedication to continue to work on improving VMS for our entire community and assure you I am definitely the right person to be selected again to proudly represent Third Mutual on the VMS Board of Directors. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Wei Ming. Now we'll go to Hal Horn. Hal, you also have 3 minutes at your disposal.
Is this open or?
There's a button there that turns green,
Yeah.
and that means your mic's on. You can take off your mask if that would be helpful to you.
Oh, there we go. They hid the green light. Good morning, everybody. My name is Hal Horn, or Harold Horn, either way. One was the legal name, the other one is the nickname. We have been, Sherry and I, in Laguna Woods Village for the last 17 years, in 2005 when we moved here. And we've both been very, very involved with the community and doing whatever we can to make this a better place to live. For 14 years, I was with the security division. I was a patrol officer, gate ambassador, and a trainer. I left that about 2 years ago. And as well, during the last 17 years, I've served as a Garden Villa Association as a building captain, regional representative, and also the GVA board, the rec room committee that was part of the third. I've also served on the Golden Rain Foundation, some of the security committee most particularly, and recently the parking situation in third. I have always believed, and I was taught by my parents, to give back to your community. It's not enough to just pay the monthly HOA fees, but to actively participate in the life of the village. I've been fortunate to be a part of this community, and I've learned how this village operates, the entities, and what's possible within the various laws that we live under. Before coming to Laguna Woods Village, I was employed in the life insurance company administration. That's a home office administration. I was not a broker or an agent. And most people I dealt with were brokers and the direct clients who wanted to contact us. And I was also in the public relations field for about 6, 7 years. I was an account supervisor with an agency in Santa Monica, and we specialized in medical companies such as community psychiatric centers, and the whole woodworking and furniture industry was one of our clients as well. I'm in the unique position of having experience with both of these things, of public relations and administration, and I will appropriately represent Third Mutual and its members to the VMS board, and vice versa. Just in conclusion, I view a lot of what this position is about is being a liaison of sorts between Third and VMS, and that's a two-way flow communication, goes back and forth. That is something I have a tremendous experience with. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much. All righty, at this point, we'll move to questions from board members. If board members would just indicate by raising their hand who would like that. Annie McCary, you can have the first question, please.
Thank you, President Muchnick. My question is to Hal Horn, and I appreciate your resume and everything that you've brought to the community. My question to you has to do with your experience in public relations and how you feel that your experience in public relations would be an asset as a representative on the VMS board for Third Mutual.
Interesting question, Annie. No one's ever asked me that before. I suppose it's in being able to deal with a lot of different audiences at the same time. You know, sometimes you have to deal with the media as well as the client, and sometimes the client has a board of directors or some other company over them, and they want to impose what they believe. And I will tell you this, if you need any help with writing news releases, et cetera, I was very, very good at that.
Thank you.
Other board members, questions for the candidates? Annie, you have another question?
Absolutely.
I don't like that, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really curious because you, and again, my question is directed to Hal, and it has to do with the experience that you have in Laguna Woods Village. You said you worked for the security department, you were part of the Garden Villa as a building captain, you worked with the restroom, and various several GRF committees. And so clearly, you've got some experience living here in Laguna Woods. Which one of these areas, if there is a specific area that you feel qualifies you to make you the best candidate for the?
I think it's understanding how the place operates. You don't always find that. You find sometimes people who don't understand what their position is about and where the real guardrails, to use a current term, where the guardrails are and things like that.
Thank you. And then I will just have a question for Wei Ming then. So Wei Ming, you certainly are well known to the Third Mutual Board. Is there one area of your experience that you highlighted so well in your opening statement? Is there one particular area that you feel sets you above the rest in terms of being the representative for Third Mutual?
Yes, I think even though my strength is in.
Please make sure your microphone's on.
My strengths are in financial management, but I am also as a general manager of strategic plan and also process. I think the one area that I think I can contribute the most is the culture change. That's the most important thing for any strat plan. And also the process, that we need to have a good operational excellence system in place so we can move forward, continue to improve. That's my strength, I think.
Thank you.
Okay, looking around, Director Jarrett.
Wei Ming, you've done a wonderful job so far, and I'm wondering where you think you can take the VMS board from here. I know you served as president and vice president, and where do you envision for the future that you can be helpful, like I say, to take us into the future in another term in VMS?
I think the key is just what I was saying, continuous improvement, and again, operational excellence. So that involve, on the board, we don't do management, we do oversight. And we ask challenging questions, we do review and studies. We can bring VMS continue to improve our operational excellence, which including HRs, have better people, top management, the top talent in place, and we will have the IT that bring up to date, and we will audit all the process, and make sure we have check and balances and eliminate the waste in ineffective or inefficient process. Those are the areas I think we can continue to improve. I already see a lot of improvement. It's not that it's the board's job, the board's the responsibility to make those improvements, but we do the review, oversight, and make sure we push for those things to continue to improve.
Any, next person? You have another question? Please.
I have a question for Hal. Hal, have you had any budgeting experience at all, like financial?
As a department line manager, I prepared the budget and did that for 3 or 4 years. That would be the extent of it, and I'll be honest with you. That will be not being that directly involved in making up a budget and planning for next year was those few years I was a line manager.
Thank you. Thank you.
Looking around. I have a question then for both candidates. What do you think the biggest problem is that VMS is currently facing? And or how would you address that? And I'll let Wei Ming go first.
Yeah, okay.
If that's okay. Give Tal a little time to think.
People would think is the landscape, is the customer service, is the resale. No, it's the system. The biggest problem is the system, it's the silo. It's the silo because this department doesn't talk to that department, we don't respond in time. And we need to make sure knock down the departmental cycle so they can continue to work together so we can provide better services. That's, I think, is most critical issues that I see.
I realize, Hal, you're at a disadvantage not having been on the board, VMS board, but do you have any thoughts that you might want to share about?
Well, I'm going to say this, and and I know there'll be people who will say, "Why did you say that?" I agree with Wei Ming about the silo issue. They need to break down those walls. That's been the worst thing that's almost always existed here is a lack of communication, where the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, and then they go up to the third floor and get a completely different answer.
Okay.
That's about,
Okay.
yeah. Communicate, let me just add this, because this came out of my PR experience. The ability to communicate is always what's the most important thing. And it's not necessarily that you have a 4-color magazine every couple of months. It's the constant in between that you have to keep the communication going with you, the client, whatever, the media, whatever it's going to be. Thank you.
Okay. Lynn, Jarrett?
I have another question. This is for both of you. My question is, first of all, I want to say I'm not a fan of social media, but it's here. We can't fight it, but it is here in the community and everywhere else in the world. Sometimes, there's negative remarks out there about VMS board and also VMS company. How do you think that we can fight that and go on from here, rather than go out there and on the social media and directly, because we don't want to do that? So is there any other way you think you can fight our image and your image on the board?
I think we need to have a better, more effective communication. I know our communication department does a fantastic job, but the viewership is very little. Okay, so somehow we need to increase our viewership of our communication. A good example, the year-end in review was excellent video put together. Very few people look at it. So we don't want to argue on the social media as a whole, but I think there are definitely ways we can increase the viewership of our communication material that's changing people's mind.
Thank you. And how?
Can you repeat the question, please?
We have social media is out there whether we like it or not, and we don't do our business on social media. But in some people's eyes, when you look at their social media in the community locally, some people have a bad image of the VMS board and a bad image of the VMS company. How can we fight that?
It's going to be a combination of not just putting out what we are putting out. I don't like to do, I have a question. Anybody can come into a VMS board meeting. Is that correct? I mean, anybody can sit in the in the audience.
I don't think so. Not a VMS board meeting. They're not open.
Is it?
They're open to the other directors unless they have closed meetings for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But they do have, they're just open to directors, board of directors.
Okay, so it's not normal for you to have residents here?
No.
Or resident owners, but they could. Could they attend and be in the audience?
No, they cannot.
No, did you?
It's a company.
Can they?
No, it's the company board.
Okay.
Excuse me.
You're going to have a tough road, because the way you're going to get people in here is they have to see what's going on.
All right, thank you for your answer, Hal.
Okay.
Any other board members, questions or comments? Annie, have you got all your things covered? Check all boxes.
I have a question for both, for Hal and for Wei Ming. Considering both of your backgrounds in different areas and your involvement in the community, is there one particular strength that you feel that you have that would make you the perfect candidate for the VMS board to represent Third Mutual?
Understanding how everything works. It's as simple as that. It's always been the hallmark, both in public relations and administration management, is that you need to be able to see the larger picture. And unfortunately, a lot of people here don't see the larger picture. They see the little thumbprint on the bottom corner, and they think that's the whole piece.
Thank you. And Wei Ming?
I consider myself as a leader. I think I am a very good leader. I am a very good team player. I think those are the area I think I can lead the VMS board to the next level, VMS operations to the next level. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Annie. Anybody else? Hearing none, I will, since we let Wei Ming go first with her opening statement, we'll let Hal Horn go first with his closing statement.
Okay.
You have up to 2 minutes for a closing statement.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, thank you to this board for listening to us, attempting to answer your questions. And pretty much the documentation that I submitted with the application is pretty much everything you need to know to ask me. You have your choice between two very good people who've been heavily involved in the community for years, and I've known Wei Ming and Ed for quite a while, all of you. And if you vote for me, I promise that I will do the best job possible. Thank you.
Okay. Wei Ming, your 2 minutes, please.
As I said, with leadership, adaptability, and teamwork, we can bring in this leadership with everybody, we can bring the VMS to the next level. And I feel, just like as my opening statement, I have the energy and ability and dedication continue to work to help VMS to continue to improve. I do have a question. If I do get selected, I do need to have the trust of Third Mutual Board in me, in my ability to help the VMS operation. Because without the teamwork, we cannot work together to bring the operation to the next level. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Grant, we have ballots for the board. If the directors would mark their ballot and then fold it and put it up on the counter in front of you, that would be appreciated, so they can be collected and counted. Thank you. Okay, I want to thank both candidates for their applications, for their willingness to serve and represent Third Mutual on the VMS board. That alone demonstrates an interest and commitment to the betterment of Third Mutual and therefore VMS. So we thank you, and we'll now hopefully hear the outcome of the ballot.
The results are, there are 2 votes for Harold Horn, 9 votes for Wei Ming Tao.
Wei Ming, congratulations. Hal Horn, thank you very much for your application, your participation, and given your credentials and your past involvement and current involvement with activities here in the village, we hope that you will continue to be actively involved. So thank you. Wei Ming, congratulations on your 3-year term.
Thank you.
And with that, we conclude business of the third board. It is 11:25, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Remember, you're still on air, folks.